New area of interest off the west coast of India on tonight's Tropical Weather Bulletin. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for May 20th. So around the world we still have chalked up no tropical cyclones in the northern hemisphere this year so far, and it's really getting quite late. However, there is now a significant chance of development in the North Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea side, as a system has piqued our interest along that coast, and we'll check it out in just a second. Well, in the Atlantic, it's 12 days until Atlantic hurricane season begins. It's an interesting, twisted-looking area of clouds there over the central Atlantic. Apart from that, not too much going on. As usual, storms blowing up across the central United States right now. In the Eastern Pacific, there is an interesting looking feature there, but what we've marked is a 10% on day 6 of hurricane season for much later on in the period, getting towards the end of the week into maybe even the weekend and early next week, for something to pop up in that yellow circle there south of Mexico. In the Western Pacific, we've given up on that area of interest that was moving through the Philippines. You can still see a little bit of cloudiness going on there over the South China Sea, not far from Palawan, and very tiny signals from the models of something possibly moving up northwestwards from there. In the North Indian Ocean, we're taking a look at this area of interest that we've marked at 40% chance over the next 5 days, so it could become a tropical cyclone. I know that one model in particular is very sure about this, but other ones still yet to catch on to that yet. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, of course, we're pretty much done here now. The area of interest that we were tracking a few days ago, it felt like forever. We scrubbed it, but it is actually still visible there on the far right-hand side of the screen. Will that thing ever die? It looks like the answer might be no. The Australian region, for once, doesn't have an area of interest active anymore. It has felt like that's been going on all winter in the Northern Hemisphere, summer in the Southern Hemisphere, because it's been such a crazy season down there this year. Looking at latest satellite imagery, selected viewpoints, this is a look across the US East Coast to start with tonight. And you can see a low-level circulation going on towards the northeast there. Nothing of any particular note. And further out over the Atlantic, there's this large thing that's going on there, moving off towards the east-northeast. Non-tropical, as you would expect, but certainly an interesting thing to keep track of. Well, in the Eastern Pacific, there's a little tropical disturbance there on the left-hand side that I'm sure you'll have noticed by now. Not expected to become anything even get marked, although it will be traceable probably for a few days as it moves off towards the west. What we're going to be watching out for is something forming behind that later on this week. At the moment, no sign of anything like that yet. There's a little bit of cloud cover towards Costa Rica and Panama with rain showers. But apart from that, very little in the Eastern Pacific. Well, in the Westpac, you can see clouds fumbling around there, around the Philippines, a few off to the east, but particularly off to the west into the South China Sea, and now into the Indian Ocean. Of course, you can see the big influence of this system, which we've tagged as K5, with huge cloud cover off the west coast of India, and it's probably going to be a big rainmaker regardless of any development on this one. Over the Bay of Bengal itself, very little going on, apart from a small area on the eastern coast of India there, in the Visakhapatnam area towards the southwest. And this is a close-up of that system K5 already, giving winds of 35 miles per hour, pressure 999 millibars, around 14 north, 73.6 degrees east. Eventually it will pretty much straddle the coast of India and then pull out a little bit further before reaching the coast of Gujarat. This is the Southwest Indian Ocean, and a pretty quiet scene being played out here. A few clouds and rain reaching Madagascar, South Africa, getting funneled through lots of clouds from the South Atlantic. The Australian region looking pretty quiet as well. A few thunderstorm complexes out to sea over there towards the Indian Ocean, not too far from the Cocos-Keeling Islands. And in the South Pacific, it looks like a world of fronts down there. Certainly New Zealand below that frontal system. Not too bad a day there actually, but a pretty quiet scene all round. which is not the case in the central United States this evening. As of the recording time, there are 2 confirmed tornadoes on the ground right now, so be aware. And this is the Marshall Islands region, where you can see a few other storms around those islands, just to show you one of our other radar views today. You can find all of these on the website, by the way, force13.com/satellite, or you can take a look at those radar views as well. East coast of China, storms moving through there as well, lots of rain showers. And look at southern France there towards the northwest of the image, a little storm complex going on there as well. Looks like it was quite severe earlier. Well, sea surface temperatures really warming up as we get into the Gulf of Mexico now, getting up towards the 26-degree isotherm all across the Gulf and out off the coast of Florida as well. Eastwards, temperatures are rising too. In the eastern Pacific, they're still very good indeed, 30 degrees plus over a large area there south of Mexico, and that's only going to get better further out to sea later on. In the western Pacific, all around the Philippines, it's looking very good, 30 degrees plus, particularly out west over the South China Sea. Just nothing has capitalized upon that yet, or anywhere else in the basin. All that massive area there of 26 degrees Celsius plus, all the yellow and above. And in the Bay of Bengal, that's the hot spot of the North Indian Ocean, but that area there of western India where this system is also looking good, minimums 28 degrees Celsius. Compared to average, it's well above average in parts of the Bay of Bengal and slightly above in the Arabian Sea as well. In the Pacific, it's mainly the subtropics that are above average, the tropical zone a little bit closer to normal. Eastern Pacific still has a significant cool spot there off the Baja California Peninsula and jutting out quite a way into the ocean. The Atlantic overall is a little bit above average, with a particular area off the west coast of Florida. Well, oceanic heat content is on the uptrend as well in the Eastern Pacific, starting to get a few oranges there on that viewpoint, and towards the Western Pacific too. The energy in the ocean is increasing, waiting for storms to tap in on all of that. What you're looking at here, high values would really favor further quicker intensification than what lower values would have, regardless of the sea surface temperatures. Obviously, if they're above 26 degrees, that's obviously needed, but with the oceanic heat content also on side, that much more favors rapid intensification. So this is the GFS computer model over the next 5 days, looking at this system off the west coast of India. I alluded to it earlier, but no surprise, it is the GFS that's the most bullish about this system, developing it to 981 millibars before it reaches landfall eventually, which would be a high-end tropical storm by the looks of this on the GFS run. We've given 40% for 3 reasons: because of this run, but not just because of that. Other runs have something on the radar, just not much at the minute, and thirdly, how it looks right now, already delivering huge amounts of convective cloud tops and thunderstorms, and the rainfall expectations from this system are also looking pretty high as well, all up the western coast of India there, from where it is right now all the way through Mumbai and all those areas. Rainfall amounts could reach anywhere between 200 to possibly 500 millimeters in some extreme locations there along the coast, almost entirely along the coast. Well, into the longer range then, day 5 through 10, we are looking out for that possible Eastern Pacific system. I think this is the one that we've marked. It should be. Eventually there becomes a tropical cyclone. There it is, quite significant looking actually. Hurricane there towards the end of the month, so that would be interesting if that happened. It is still a little way away there. If it did become a hurricane according to that GFS model, it looks like that will happen on the 28th by the looks of things. So that's 8 days away, still a little bit far to call anything like that yet, if it even forms. And looking at the moderate range as well, at 2 extra systems here. One that tries to get itself sorted in the South China Sea, barely manages if it does at all. And then the Bay of Bengal, a huge bloated system trying to develop a circulation and become a tropical cyclone. Does it manage that? Trying to figure that out myself as we watch this loop. Well, yes it does actually, just before landfall there in Andhra Pradesh, in Odisha actually, further north, before moving inland. A little bit rusty on the Indian geography there. Scan the barcode and that will take you through to the Force 13 merch store, where you can take a look at all our products, as well as our full season and individual storm animations, and all of our outlets available online as well. Well, in the fantasy range where things don't make sense, day 10 to 16, well, this does make sense actually. This system continuing west-northwestwards, its past peak dies off eventually and slips off into the night over the eastern Pacific Ocean. That is pretty much what you would expect for a track at this time of year. As we saw those sea surface temperatures earlier, they drop off massively as the system moves out over there, more so than usual years, at least at this point of the season. So there it is, off it goes. That's pretty much a formality. Well, what happened on this day? It was May 20th, 1999, when we had Cyclone 2B, which was in the similar area to where this system today is. Although further north, this one making landfall a little bit further north in Gujarat in western India there, probably not far from the Pakistan border actually. Powerful, category 3, and it happened at the last minute as well. It wasn't looking quite so good before the landfall, but then the eye popped out in crazy fashion, quite a large eye as well by the time it did make landfall. Powerful storm to look back upon, and a very dangerous one it was as well. Well, back to today then. Of course, it's May 20th, which means it's not too far from the Atlantic hurricane season. The first name is Andrea. Eastern Pacific underway, but no storms yet. The first name is Alvin. In the Central Pacific, the next name is Iona. Don't get me started on that. Well, in the Western Pacific, the next name is Wutip, and in the North Indian Ocean, we're still looking out for Shakti, so look out for it possibly shortly, the way this thing is going, although still some question marks about whether it will actually form. Southern Hemisphere, the Southwest Indian Ocean will start a new list on July 1st, but for now the next name is Lyra. In the Australian region it's Fina, and in the South Pacific it will be Ermil. That's all for tonight's Tropical Weather Bulletin. We'll be back again tomorrow night. Become an Ultimate Fan today.